Well, Colin, how is the North coping? Again, we're facing another huge challenge.
We are, Mark. I think we've come out relatively well when you look and see what's happened in Gisborne and Hawke's Bay and other places. So, yeah, I think we've come out relatively well. Yes, a lot of us are still without power. I don't have power on the farm at the moment, and that's creating extra work because I have to move the cattle around to paddocks where the trough is full of water. So just basic things like that. We have no electric fences going. So we have to make sure that they're further apart than we would normally because, so just little things like that we're having to do on the farm to cope. So in the north, I might build you a bit of a picture, Mark. We've had between June 22 and December 22, we had our annual year's rainfall in 6 months. Since on January 23, we had 464 millimetres of rain. From the 1st of February until the 14th of February, we had 419 millimetres of rain. So you sort of get the picture where in 2 months we've almost had half our rainfall.
So normally you're around about the 1,600 mils per year for the full year. So you're already up to 800 in a matter of weeks.
Nearly 900, yeah, and just a very, very short period of time. So the ground is sodden, it's saturated. And it doesn't take much when you get winds up to 150 kilometres an hour to tip a few trees on their side.
So the wind damage has been considerable, and that's as much an effect on things, I guess, as the water, the rain.
Absolutely. Yeah, so it started in the east and it moved right round and came in at the southwest. And at that velocity in the southwest, it toppled power poles and trees and all sorts of things. So yes, we've got a big cleanup job. But I still feel that we've got plenty of feed around, not good quality, but we've got lots of feed. But it will catch up with us in June, July, because we haven't been able to make or conserve silage and hay and things like that.
How does the baleage and silage and that cope with? I know it's a lot of it obviously packed in the plastic. Does it cope well with the water, or? Oh, I guess it washes away quite a bit. It floats quite well.
They weigh 600 plus kilograms. So if there's no current there, they'll generally sit there.
Yeah.
But when you get some strong currents, they can move, lots of weight. And then they do start to float once they get going. Air trapped inside, but that does soak into them eventually, and they become useless.
I imagine your area as well. I mean, it's the heart and soul of Coomera, and I know they were struggling before this happened, but I imagine that crop must be well devastated.
It is, Mark. Dargaville produces probably about 80% of our new Coomera crop, and even prior to this deluge, many growers were not going to be able to produce anything. It was just rotting in the ground. And so it's a high likely that only about 20% of the Coomeras will be harvestable.
I mean, is it the worst you've seen in your time?
The worst in Northland, yes. I've seen worse in the Waikato. But it's just the way it is. Farmers will get through this, Mark. They've got through before. We're survivors. But along the way, we're going to have a few issues that we'll need and bridges to cross, literally as well as figuratively.
Absolutely. Well, Colin, thank you so much for your time. I know you're busy. Any idea? I know I've had the power off for over a day myself at my area. Thankfully, it's back on now, but you just don't know when it's going to come back on. Any idea when that might get back on for you?
Well, they're hoping at the worst case it will be tomorrow. We'll just have to wait and see, because the maiden feeder line is down, and these trees have just taken those feeder lines out, and that's what's delayed a lot of the repairs, because these are much heavier cables than normally that have come down and require heavy equipment, and the ground's not suitable in some places to get them in, and all that stuff that they're having to grapple with. But I think they've done a very, very good job to get us back to where we are. And I congratulate North Power and Top Energy for the effort that they put in today.